The result? Images spring to life with
Kristensen was the one who led the guys to go help. The helicopter was shot down.
And that's the only reason he's not with us, because he went after the four on the mountain.
And having seen what aircraft accidents do, I knew he was gone.
Their son's been brought to a place of national recognition through the book, Lone Survivor.
Whatever can be done to help them continue on after that loss is incredibly important.
He's been on my heart for a long time. Families, anticipation, you got many hours sunk into the portrait.
My hope, Phil's hope, is that they see their son.
So here he is, your son, our Navy SEAL hero, Lieutenant Commander Erik Kristensen.
As an artist, this is the best way I know how to honor America's heroes, to celebrate their lives, and to bring them back home to their families. I'm Phil Taylor. I paint portraits of America's fallen soldiers.
It's a beautiful day in Washington, D.C., the home of Navy SEAL Lieutenant Commander Erik Kristensen.
Erik Kristensen led the team that set out to rescue 4 SEALs who were under attack in remote Afghanistan. The mission would later be memorialized in the book and film Lone Survivor.
I'm definitely looking forward to learning about this guy. I made a commitment years ago to paint all the SEALs that were killed. That date, June 28, 2005.
Phil Taylor is on his way to meet Erik's mother, Sam, and his father, retired Navy Admiral Ed Kristensen.
You know, at first I approached their home very apprehensive.
Sir, how are you?
You're nervous, you're anxious, so you approach with a great sincerity.
One question we have is, how did you select Erik?
He's been on my heart for a long time. Long time. I mean, since, '05. And not to get too emotional, but you know, he's been there inside my core, wanting to paint and connect with you guys and say thank you for many years.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's Navy SEALs are really part of my DNA. They exist inside my heart. There was a moment where I realized the immeasurable commitment and the unrelenting passion that these guys have that most can not even fathom.
We lived at the amphibious base when he was 5. So that's when he first saw SEALs and what they did. There were about 6 little boys on that base at the time that became SEALs.
I think that Erik wanted to be a SEAL because he saw the camaraderie and the togetherness and the team environment that the SEAL community represented.
Erik Kristensen became a SEAL in 2001. In 2005, he led Operation Red Wings, a mission to find Ahmad Shah, an Afghani insurgent. On June 28, 4 SEALs were inserted into the mountains of Kunar province, but were discovered and attacked almost immediately. As soon as he got their distress call, Erik flew to their rescue with a team of SEALs and Army flyers. As commander, Erik was not required to get on the helicopter.
And that's the only reason he's not with us, because he went after the 4 on the mountain. And
He didn't have to, right?
I don't think he would have sent anybody. I mean, he just went.
I think he's always had a sense of duty. He would not strive to be the leader. He would strive to be a contributing member of the group, whether it was a sports team or a SEAL platoon.
Would you have ever thought when he was growing up that he would become the guy that he now is? And of course, I mean, the movie, the book, and all these things enhanced his service and, of course, his sacrifice. He's frankly iconic in so many Americans' eyes.
He did what he wanted to do, and he never expected to be the object of
this much attention.
This much attention?
Yeah.
He didn't seek fame. He didn't seek notoriety. Far from it.
This is the last picture. And I like that one only because the smile is there, even with the beard.
Yeah.
He had a great smile.
I love that picture of him.
It's a good picture, it really is.
I've painted just probably over 200 soldiers, sailor, airmen, Marines. But your son has been on my heart, on my mind for a long time. He'll be restored in a way that'll be very unique beyond some of the photographs. And I can promise you that. I won't let you down.
You don't let anybody down. You do a great service.
Thank you.
For these kids and for the families that are left behind. You do a great service.
I got him and you guys covered.
Phil Taylor next meets with Jeff Eggers, one of Erik's best friends.
First of all, thank you for taking time from your busy schedule. Thank you for your service.
And thanks for what you're doing.
Thank you, sir.
I think the idea of Portraits of Patriotism is a unique one. It's a creative one. The soldiers who sacrifice in this decade plus of war are 1% of the American population. And for those that carry the burden of the ultimate sacrifice, these parents, these families, whatever can be done to help them continue on after that loss, I think is incredibly important.
When you go back in time, how can you encapsulate him as a person?
Even though it's almost been 10 years, in some ways it feels like he's still with us. He was that forceful of a personality. He was very strongly drawn to special warfare, special operations.
Right. He had really found his purpose in place.
I think he was going to have many purposes and places in life. He was a student of Shakespeare. He was creative. He had his own artistic side, a musical side, a literary side, a scholarly side, and a warrior side. And in Erik's case, that feeling of having lost somebody that was one of a kind is truly profound and powerful. I think you would hear that from anyone who knew him well. We really did lose somebody who was irreplaceable.
Amen. When you think about him, what do you miss the most?
There was a certain way he had of making people feel like he was devoted to them, giving them his attention, and then making them laugh and making them smile. This is the first time I've spoken at all publicly. I've never ventured outside my own private way of dealing with it. And I think it's important for the families that we talk about his memory and cherish what he gave us, both as a person and as a soldier, and for their service.
Coming up, Phil Taylor learns more about Erik's service as a SEAL.
The reason that Erik went and jumped on the helicopter is because it was his friends that needed backup.
Artist Phil Taylor takes all that he's learned about Navy SEAL Erik Kristensen into his studio near Dallas and will channel it into his portrait.
Early morning. Looks like a good day to paint Mr. Kristensen.
Erik's portrait will be presented to his family at Skyball, a 3-day military fundraiser. The family will be honored at 2 events.
The luncheon is really designated to make sure that Erik's going to be presented with the highest level of respect and honor. In the evening is going to be people coming from places all across the United States to say we want to recognize those who serve, those who sacrificed, and ensure none of them are forgotten.
Great shot. Just a wonderful image. Shows those crystal blue eyes. Perfect look. Sweet spirit. It also gives me everything I need to show you were as a leader.
It's me.
What's up? I could hear you coming.
You could?
Well, the years have forged my mind into knowing your every step.
The clickety-clack of my shoes.
Yep.
So in talking with Skyball, the organizers want to introduce the family to the whole audience at the evening event. So you'll be on stage there.
That's fantastic.
So.
It's like 3,000 people.
It's just a massive event that they hold at the Dallas-Fort Worth Airport in American Airlines hangar. I have a call coming, so I have to go. So
Awesome.
See you later.
Okay.
Let me know if you need anything.
I'll see you at lunchtime.
Okay.
Mr. Erik, back to business. Private time, you and me. You got to find out at such a young age what Navy SEALs were all about. 5 years old, kind of saw your destiny.
I can almost guarantee you that the heritage and the history that he has through his dad was the inspiration, and that brought Erik to a place of moving towards the Navy and then finding his own identity in becoming a Navy SEAL.
When Phil was in Washington, D.C., he also met with Ryan Rico to learn more about Erik's career as a Navy SEAL.
What comes to mind when you think of him?
He was very approachable, and he would lead people, and people would follow him because of how friendly and personal he was, not because he had rank and an authoritarian presence.
I think most people are interested in trying to uncover and figure out what makes you guys so closely knitted together. The willingness to sacrifice and do things that most human beings would never do in the most unbelievable circumstances.
A lot of guys have agreed that SEALs aren't made, they're born, but you just have to find out who was born to do that by going through the fire.
So I want to talk about, unfortunately, what happened on June 28, 2005.
Operation Red Wings was a mission that sent 4 operators to go in to do a reconnaissance. The 4 SEALs that were selected to go out were Lieutenant Michael Murphy, Marcus Luttrell, Matt Axelson, and Danny Dietz. They found the village, they had eyes on the targets. The mission didn't continue the way that it was supposed to. They were compromised.
A fierce gunfight erupted between the 4 SEALs and a large group of local militia.
The communications weren't working the right way. Eventually, they had to make a call with the cell phone. They said they needed some help. When Erik got the call, he ran and jumped on the helicopter, which is uncommon for someone who's a lieutenant commander. But it was his friends that needed backup. He went to engage in the fight. Unfortunately, the helicopter was shot down.
All 16 men on board the helicopter and 3 of the 4 Navy SEALs on the ground were killed.
That was the largest loss at the time of special warfare personnel in history.
We had been in Virginia Beach at a retirement ceremony for an officer that had worked for me. And we had heard about this helicopter going down in Afghanistan. And we got home that night and got a telephone call.
It was Admiral McGuire from Coronado. And it was basically what they call an admiral-to-admiral call. And the reason being that the SEALs were on their way from Norfolk, from Virginia Beach, to inform us, but DCA was socked in and they couldn't land.
He was, in fact, in the heel. And having seen what aircraft accidents do, I knew he was gone.
If anyone had ever tried to tell me what it's like to lose a child, if I tried to tell you what it's like to lose a child, you'd think I was crazy. You would never believe it. You can't describe it. It doesn't go away. It's there every day. And nothing takes its place.
Coming up.
I think it's going to be personally gratifying and empowering in a way that they don't even know yet.
The final touches on his portrait of Navy SEAL Lieutenant Commander Erik Kristensen.
All right, Mr. Erik. This has been many years coming for me. So I have to tell you, this has been and will be, at your presentation, a blessing that I've been wanting to do since I painted your comrades Murphy, Dietz, and Axelson.
The portrait will be presented to Erik's parents at Skyball, a fundraiser for the military and their families.
Mr. Erik, you are looking pretty good. I think Ryan would be pleased. All right, my friend. Off to framer, off to photographer. You rest well.
In Dallas, Phil and Lisa Taylor prepare for the first presentation of Erik's portrait at a luncheon in honor of Erik's parents.
So we're still getting everything arranged, the audio, visual, the staging.
I'm looking forward to the Admiral Ed with his wife Sam flying in for Skyball and the luncheon.
By the time that they're supposed to arrive, I'll be out there waiting and all settled. My hope, Phil's hope, is that they see their son.
Excited to see what Phil has done, how he captured Erik.
It'll be very interesting, especially since we've been told it's very large. I can't quite picture it, but we'll find out soon. I think it's marvelous that somebody wishes to do this on their own time, and the fact that they do spend a lot of their time and their life in doing not only my son, but other people's sons.
Sir, how are you? Good to see you. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. Medal of Honor recipient, sir, how are you? Good to see you, my friend. What's going on, partner? Families, anticipation. You got many hours sunk into the portrait. There's a lot of love shared, man. A lot of love.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the American Fallen Soldiers Project, artist Phil Taylor.
I don't know if you guys know, but Erik Kristensen, of course, the commander from the movie Lone Survivor, this man, this towering figure, was wonderful, approachable, kind, graceful, merciful, but also was firm. When it came time for the rubber to meet the road, he was there. And that's why he was given leadership, graduated from the Naval Academy in 1995. His father, Ed, was a naval commander and led many thousands of men and ships over his long career, 32 years. It was a blessing for you guys to open your hearts and your home to me. So with that said, please stand for the entrance of the portrait of their son, our American hero Navy SEAL, Lieutenant Commander Erik Kristensen.
Right, please. 2 paces forward. March. About, please.
Give them a hand clap for Ed and Sam Kristensen as you come up, and let's do a reveal of your son.
Coming up, Taylor is about to present his portrait of fallen Navy SEAL Erik Kristensen to Erik's parents at a luncheon in Dallas.
It's certain pieces and photographs that I looked through. His eyes, just so handsome. And there was one shot that I just couldn't steer away from. So I incorporated some of the other expressions, but most of all, it was based upon one picture that I found to be just right for him. So here he is, your son, our Navy SEAL hero, Lieutenant Commander Erik Kristensen.
There he is.
There he is.
I hope that this will symbolize our great appreciation for his selfless sacrifice and for the history that you guys have in naval service. Thank you very much.
The portrait was extremely overwhelming.
It's Erik. From the eyes to the little hook on the left side of his mouth. He had the thickest head of hair.
Oh, he did. He had horribly thick hair.
Unlike his father.
Yeah. No, I'm serious, yeah. Yeah.
Would you like to say a few words, either one of you?
This is quite an honor, and it's quite a picture. And Erik was hard to capture. He just admitted that. I only want to say that Erik died on a day with 18 other people. And every single one of those souls deserve every honor they can have.
That evening, Phil and Lisa Taylor present Erik's portrait at Skyball, where 3,000 people recognize Erik's heroism and sacrifice and honor veterans and military families at a gala event hosted by American Airlines and the Air Power Foundation.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the American Fallen Soldier Project, Phil Taylor. Hello. It's good to be here. We have the parents of Lieutenant Commander Erik Kristensen and his father, who was also a naval commander for 32 years of many ships, and he is back there with Ed and Sam.
Skyball 12 was this magical moment. Erik's mom talked about that, and she said, I have Erik, and she's referring to the portrait. Erik's been recognized in film and in book. The portrait will be a more personal aspect of remembrance and recognition.
I think it'll brighten the room and allow those visiting us to get a good look at who Erik was.
Brush of Honor is dedicated to the brave men and women who serve in our nation's military and to the